Yeah, good to be with you guys.
$8 million in total funding, $4.7 million in extra funding for the Richmond Football Club over the next 4 years. What's that going to mean in terms of bottom line resources to the club?
Look, it's going to be very important to us, and firstly, I think we should acknowledge the support of the AFL for supporting us and other clubs, I guess, and look, we are constrained, and I guess this investment will allow us to invest in areas to help ourselves, and ultimately there's a number of clubs that, particularly in the back office, fall short of what the AFL deemed to be minimum standards. So these monies allow us to sort of invest in people and resources, which enable us to write more revenue in membership and business development, which ultimately allows us to support our football department, which is ultimately what it's all about. So no, it's very important, and but the hard work starts now.
Brendon, you mentioned hard work. Is the ultimate goal of your club, and I guess all the other clubs, to be AFL non-dependent, that you can operate and not need any assistance from the AFL, that you're a viable entity and that you prosper and you can grow and mature without added help?
Oh, I think so, mate. I think it's human nature, really, isn't it? And I guess we're no exception. And we're a club who historically has never sort of asked for the AFL's help at any time. We've managed to sort of to get along by ourselves, but I guess we're at a pretty critical stage now, mate, where there's the amount you spend in your football club, in particular football, has a huge bearing on your likelihood of success. So our club, like a few other clubs, are caught in a bit of a cycle. Years of underperformance means that we haven't been able to write those revenues to invest back in football to get the performance improvement we're looking for, and so the cycle goes on. And yes, we welcome the support of the AFL, and we're confident as a football club we make the right decisions. We can certainly get ourselves out of this cycle, and moreover contribute to the whole AFL enterprise as a whole. We think as a club we can do that.
Brendon, not all the AFL presidents were happy with it. Jeff Kennett apparently spoke to the Commission quite strongly about his dismay at the way the money was being distributed. Hawthorn, Geelong, Adelaide, the Gold Coast and the Giants getting no money in extra funding from this next round of financial assistance. What do you say to Jeff and to other presidents who might say to you, well, the reason why your club might be in a financial disadvantageous position is because you haven't got your back end right yourself, and unless you fix those structural problems, just pouring money into it isn't going to change anything in the long term, and we'll be back here in 4 years' time asking for the same money again?
Look, those arguments are entirely predictable and understandable, and there's often robust debate at the AFL Commission with the CEOs, and every club president, every club CEO, coach comes from their own vested interests. They've got their own agenda, and that's ultimately their own club's success. But I think we've got to sit back and recognise that there's an interest we all share, and that is in the strength and the health of competition. And for the healthy competition, you need robust and viable clubs. And I think the way trends have evolved the last couple of years, there's some clubs that find the environment increasingly difficult, to the extent that they may not be successful in terms of finals and premierships. What it's all about. So I just think we've got to take a big step back and just think of the greater good. And I guess it's that thinking, that collective thinking over the last 25, 30 years has made our sport, our industries a great one. I guess the other point I'd say too is that clubs, go in cycles. And it wasn't that long ago that, Geelong were almost technically bankrupt. Hawthorn the same. Collingwood have had a few discussions with Eddie, the Abyss. They were on the edge of a few years ago. So, clubs operate in cycles, and they should be mindful of that.
Brendon, Melbourne have had their debt demolition. You guys have had your fighting fund, your Tiger Fighting Fund.
Yeah.
Just how much was it a noose around the neck of your club? I know it was for Melbourne, just paying interest upon interest each year. Yeah, it must have been disheartening in many ways to know that before you even start, you're already $1 million plus in the red just through interest.
Look, it just limits your ability. I mean, our debt's manageable, Ox, and we can meet obligations, and that's no problem. But what it does, it just limits, restricts your ability to take some, prudent commercial risks, and just to bring on a few extra people to write more revenue, or just a few commercial business risks. You're limited in that regard. So Look, it's a good point you made, though, because 12 months ago we did educate our people, our supporters, and said, look, this is the trend. I guess we took it in our own hands, as Melbourne did, to try and alleviate the situation. And whilst the AFL support's about helping us meet minimum standards, the Fighting Tiger Fund is about, investing in the capability of our football, pretty much football only, and also repaying debt. So it's been very successful. Our members have been very supportive, and the message has got through, and we'll continue that. But we certainly welcome the AFL support as well.
And Brendon, just finally, the Tigers, when you start pre-season?
I think they're back. The young boys are back. I think it's the second last week of October. Then the more experienced guys back. 7+ years. I think first week of November. So, but mate, you know what it's like. You try and get the guys away to freshen up. They're sort of coming in, doing their stuff and running in weights. And I think Dustin Martin and Tucky left the Brownlow at about 10:45 last night because they had a running session this morning. And so the kids are very committed, and they're looking forward to getting stuck into it. We've got a lot of improvement ahead of us, so we're looking forward to it.
Brendon, thanks for being on the run home tonight.
Pleasure, guys. Thanks for your time.